So we've come down to Sandwich Bay today. It's absolutely beautiful down here, lovely beach. Although the weather's not great, we just thought it would be a fitting place to show you the car. So anyway, well, you've not really come to see the beach, come to see this car. So first of all, we're going to try and remote start this car. You should hear that fire up in a second, and we'll have a walk over there. As you can hear that fired up. This remote start alarm, incidentally, is a Pandora Category 1 Thatcham approved immobiliser remote start alarm system for the car. You can track the vehicle from anywhere in the world. You can remotely stop the vehicle, so if it does get stolen, you can remotely have the vehicle stopped so nobody will be able to start it. And it's a really useful feature. These cars get stolen all the time for spare parts and to be exported, and they're really sought after as far as thieves are concerned. So having something like this is invaluable, I think. This system was really expensive, and it cost me over nearly £1,900 to have fitted to the car. On top of that, I got a dash cam front and back, a Thinkware F800 Pro dash cam system front and back to put into the car to safeguard you against any insurance claims, and of course that will stay with the car as well. Both of these systems are really good, top quality, and of course will be included with the car. Come and have a look. Just like to have a pan round the car and see how nice that paintwork is. I mean, for an 11-year-old car, almost 11 years old, I would say this thing is in fantastic condition. Incidentally, when you remote start the car, it will run for 10 minutes unless you get in it, of course, and then it'll open up and allow you to drive off. But if it doesn't sense you or the tag, it will obviously just shut down. The doors remain locked, so you won't have any fear of anyone jumping in it and stealing it. And in any event, even if they did, they wouldn't have the vehicle's tag, which is this little thing, and it would mean that the next time they turn the vehicle off, they wouldn't be able to restart it again anyway. But as you can see, pretty special car. We unlock it. See, I had the side steps, deployable side steps put on. These are proper Range Rover ones for the car, obviously, and they were properly installed. I've had all new wheels and tyres put on this car, and discs and pads and wheel nuts and locking wheel nuts. All of these are all brand new and were purchased from Range Rover at a cost of £91 purely for the normal nuts, and the locking wheel nuts were over 70 quid on their own for 4 of those. New centre caps as well, and new dust caps from Range Rover. They were £34 for 4 dust caps. New discs, pads, all round. I've had control arms put on this as well. It was recommended by Range Rover when it was in there. Front and back control arms on the front, and the bushes obviously. And all of that suspension is now nice and tight, no wobbles, no rattles, no nothing. If you come round to the back, sorry about the mess, of course none of that will be in here, but if you have a look in here, oh, you can't have a look in there, sorry, I've got my fuel can in there, but trust me, there is a spare wheel in there which is brand spanking new and has a brand new tyre on it as well, and matches the other ones on the car. Those wheels alone cost me nearly £1,300 for the wheels and tyres, which I think is a bargain really. They're proper genuine Land Rover wheels and Pirelli Scorpion Verde tyres. They were all brand new. Yes, they've done a few thousand miles, but there's plenty of life left in them. You come around here. Inside there you can see we've got we upgraded to the autobiography interior. The leather on this is so soft, and these seats are just beautiful. They really are beautiful. They're comfortable, they're in excellent condition. There's no rips or tears in any of them, and I think they suit the vehicle perfectly. You have ivory inlays which match the ivory door cards that were already in the car, and of course the jet on the outside which matches the carpet and the dashboard. So all of that is a plus side. Have a look in the front there. You can see these beautiful seats are in the front here as well. I mean, it just matches this interior beautifully. I think they look absolutely fabulous in here. The seats that were in the car were not in bad condition, but they were just the normal Vogue seats that come with the car, and I've had an autobiography. If you have a look at my videos online, you'll see that I've had an autobiography Range Rover. The leather in these is just beautiful. It's lovely and soft, and as you can see, it's in fantastic condition. Everything else that's in here is of course detachable. Forget about my little GoPro camera, he's just there to film me. Of course he won't be there. I do have a phone mount down here, but again, I mean, you can, I'm happy for you to have the phone mount if it's any good to you, but if not, it comes off of there without any screw holes or anything. I have an Amazon Alexa Auto in here, which I use to play my music through the car's system. And also inside the cubby hole here, there's a 30-pin adapter, Bluetooth adapter, that I spent £93 on, just so that I'd be able to communicate with the car's head unit, and so that will be there. Let me just. Okay, so going back to what I said earlier on, guys, the ThinkWare dash cam that I've got in the front there, it's all Wi-Fi. You can take the card out if you do need to and get the footage that way, but you can also do it wirelessly, so you can just connect to this via your smartphone in the car and download any footage that you happen to be interested in or want for an insurance claim or whatever. Diane's going to take you around the back and show you the back camera. Which is all properly fitted and located up there at the top there, giving you a nice view. And even though the window's tinted, I can assure you that the image quality is fantastic. So it's really good there. I also, when we had the steps fitted to the vehicle, obviously there was fixed side steps on the vehicle when I got it. They were a bit rusty and corroded, and I don't actually think they were proper Range Rover steps anyway, so I had them removed, but the old mud flaps that was on there were fitted around that step. I'm sure you've seen them before, but if you'd like to come and have a look, I did actually buy some proper front mud flaps from Range Rover, and they were really expensive. And as you can see, they're nice and brand new and properly fitted to the vehicle, and are the proper ones for the car, and fit the side steps. We also changed these vents as well. The previous owner, or maybe the previous owner to him, had put some chrome ones on there which I didn't think suited the vehicle. If you notice this colour in here, if you come up onto the top here, you'll notice it matches this colour on the grille on the top. So in my opinion, it's a better match for the car, so it just looks a little bit less in your face, and it looks like it matches the car properly. I have actually got the correct Range Rover mud flaps for the rear as well. They've not been fitted because it didn't have any mud flaps on it anyway, but they will be included in the sale, and they're still brand new in the bag, never been fitted. I just didn't get around to fitting them on the vehicle. If you have a look at the tyres, Diane, if you just show how much tread is on these tyres, you can see they're absolutely brand new. They're all the same. They're all Pirelli Scorpion Verdis, which are correct for this car and that wheel. 255 55 20-inch wheels, and all the wheels are in fantastic condition, and all the tyres are in the same condition as well. It really is fabulous. This car's not wanted for anything since we got it, because we did plan to keep it, and as I said in my little post online, it's only because there is a possibility that I may be getting a brand spanking new car that I'm even considering selling this, because this was going to be our lifetime car. We've had 4 Range Rovers in the past, and I'll be totally honest, I'm not just saying it, this has been my absolute favourite. I love these L322s. We've had a 4.4 litre BMW 2002 petrol model. We had a 3.6 turbo diesel V8 on a 2008, which was a lovely car. We had a L405 Autobiography 4.4 SDV8, which again was fabulous, but we had it during lockdown and it was just sat on our drive doing nothing. So as lockdown ended, we decided to sell that car, and I took this one in part exchange from my local garage, who had owned it for I think 4 or 5 years, I'm not entirely sure. But he looked after it. It didn't want for nothing while it was in his ownership, and he's my trusted local garage, and yeah, we're just really pleased with it. The stance of this car is just, I just think it's perfect. It sits perfect. Everything works as it should. The suspension goes up and down as it should. It's not haunching over anywhere. Everything works. It goes up and down like it should. And I think it just sits perfectly, this car. If you get Diane to run along the side of that paintwork, Diane, have a little look, and you can see, I mean, of course you'll want to see you want to see it in person, but if you just have a look how good that is, really, for an 11-year-old car. It's quite amazing that it's in the condition it's in. It really is in nice condition. That's a fly. That's another thing on this car. All the doors have got a nice solid clunk to them. They're not rattly or anything. Everything is solid with it. It's just a really nice solid car. See the steps working perfectly. Their tyres the same on this side, obviously. They're all the same. I mean, obviously there are some marks on this car. It's 11 years old. You know, it's not perfect. There are some that don't come and view it expecting it to be in showroom condition, because it's not. But I think for an 11-year-old car, and from what you can see on this camera now, surely you'll agree with me, it's in fantastic condition for its age. Also, you'd like to come with me, Di, in a minute. The car had a nasty chip on the windscreen, and it annoyed me so much I just wanted to get it changed. We didn't do anything by half on this. I got that we've had a brand spanking new windscreen fitted to this car, and it's a proper Pilkington windscreen, which is for this model car, the 2010 to 2012, proper Pilkington glass. It's tinted, toughened, heated, and in immaculate condition because it's brand spanking new. But these are over £1,000 if you was to buy this screen from anywhere else. We had new aero flat wipers put on this vehicle as well. I've also got a spare set. These are brand new. When I got the windscreen done, these are actually brand new, these wipers. And people say you can't fit these to the L322, but there is a company that make, there's quite a few companies actually that make them, and these are much better than the stupid aero finned version that comes with this car. Range Rover have got a proprietary system for connecting their window wipers, which is atrocious, outdated. These are much better, they're much quieter, and they're much more efficient. They fit the window perfectly, they sit nice, they don't make a lot of noise, and they keep the window nice and clear. These chrome caps are a nice touch on this car, that's why I left them on there. I do think they suit it. I think you can, you know, some instances you can go over the top, but the little touches that have been done on this car I really think are nice and tastefully done. I have a list of things indoors, a big folder of the money we've spent on this vehicle, and it's a shocking amount of money, and in excess of £6,000 I've spent on this car. Now this one's not going to be cheap, but ask yourself this: if you were to go and buy one of these tomorrow for, I don't know, 12, 13 grand, you have to ask yourself, has all of the stuff that these cars need doing, has that been done? First of all, these gearboxes, it says on the gearbox itself, on some of them underneath, it says sealed for life. You don't need to change the oil. It's actually rubbish. You do need to change the oil and the filter in these gearboxes, and I've had that done on this car. It was over £800 to have it flushed and a new filter put on that gearbox. I've had both diffs, front and rear diffs, oil changed, and the transfer box oil changed. All of those things were due, and all of them were done. I had the brake fluid changed as well. I've had the coolant changed. The list is endless, and I will go through it with you a little bit later on in this video. I do have a book at home. I don't have the figures with me right now, but the list is absolutely endless, and all of these things cost a lot of money. The full service that we had done at Range Rover when we bought the car, for peace of mind, because I knew that they would tell me absolutely everything that was wrong with the vehicle, and the list that they gave me, we had everything done on that list. 3 of the tyres were actually illegal when we picked it up, although Steve, the guy I bought it from, he did tell me that he was willing to replace them, but he would have just put budget tyres on it anyway, so rather than do that, we just bought new wheels and tyres, and job done. But the cost of the service that we had done at Range Rover was in excess of £2,500, and included all the oil changes, the diffs, the transfer box, the gearbox, obviously a full service, and everything else that goes along with that full service. Also on top of that, the car did, which I knew about, the car did have an oil leak when we first bought it. It was dripping on my drive a little bit, it was annoying me, and Steve, who I bought it off, he did tell me about the oil leak, but it's another story. Anyway, we took it while it was in Range Rover. I asked them to have a look at it, and they suspected it to be the front crankshaft oil seal, which is exactly what it turned out to be. 2 of the V-belts had come off around near the front crankshaft oil seal. They'd spun on the shaft and tore away at the seal. That's all been fixed, but not only that, because it was Range Rover that did it, they also changed the 2 V-belts and the tensioner and the water pump gasket while they were in there. So none of that should need touching for the foreseeable future, which is peace of mind, which is what you want when you're buying a car. To have all of those things done, all of that oils and transfer boxes, diffs and gearbox, and this thing should be fine for the next 50,000 miles without any interference to the underneath, other than normal servicing, which is what you want when you purchase a car. That's why I want good money for this car. I'm not letting it go for a silly amount of money. I'd rather keep it. It's been absolutely fabulous. On top of all of that, we had the car mapped. Now, I know that might frighten some people, but in this case, please don't think that we thrash this thing around. You know, we're middle-aged crusties, so I don't go tearing this about. But what I will say is, I was told that the MPG would improve and that the drivability of the car would improve. If you have a look at my videos on YouTube, you'll see I did a video following the mapping, and I cannot praise the guy enough who did the map on this car. While he was there, he deleted the EGR valve. They're absolutely known for sticking and causing problems and throwing up faults on the ECU. And so the EGR valve has been mapped out of this system, so it's permanently closed. All it does, for those of you who don't know, all it does is close and allow exhaust gas recirculation for when the engine's cold. But when it's running up to normal temperature, then it's open anyway. So it's all about emissions. That's what it's there for. It's not to make the car run any better. It's just about emissions. But and of course that won't affect the MOT. None of that will affect the MOT. That's not part of it. People were worried about the DPF filter. Would it still regenerate? And I can honestly confirm to you now that after I had that map done, within 5 weeks we were going on our holidays to do the NC 500 in Scotland. And on that trip we covered 2,424 miles, trouble-free miles. Not a single fault, not a single problem, not a single thing was wrong with this car. It never missed a beat the whole way round that trip, and we had a fabulous time, and this car was awesome. It's the only car to take on the NC 500 as far as I'm concerned. Keep walking, Di, keep walking. It just pops, it just shines, this car. It's absolutely beautiful. Everything that needed doing has been done. It's peace of mind on 4 wheels. And it is in lovely condition, and it drives like a dream. But don't worry about the message on the dashboard, guys. It's just telling me that the key's not found because I have it in my pocket and I've been talking to you guys outside of the car. Incidentally, talking about the keys, I needed to use one of my spare keys for the alarm system in this car because it needs the chip inside to be able to activate the remote start and so on and so forth. So all of that has been taken out. But what I did, I got another, both the keys are brand new, by the way, and I've got another spare key with a spare blade in it, so the car will come with 2 keys, and also 2, most importantly, of these tags that come with the alarm. These are really important, and of course you've got the remote starting key fob as well, which will remote start the car. It will come with all of that as well. So I think what we should do, guys, maybe we'll go for a drive and we'll have a little chat in the car on the way home. It's beautiful down here in Sandwich Bay, and the car couldn't be more at home. So we'll say goodbye to Sandwich Bay and we'll have a little chat in the car. See you in a bit. Yep. Hi guys, I'm going to try and get through this a bit quicker because I've tried 3 times to do this video, and each time I've done this 11-minute clip it's failed and I'm pulling my hair out. So I'm going to try and get through this quickly. So this is just to recap on what I mentioned in the other video about the money that's been spent on this car. I finally put this book together with all the receipts, and shockingly I found that I've spent in excess of £10,000 on this car. I'm absolutely flabbergasted. While I love this car and have loved every minute of spending money on the car, it just shows you how easy it is to just keep spending money on these things. Anyway, I'm going to go through this quite quickly with you so that ensure we get this video done. So service book is completely full, and there wasn't any room to put my service in that I had done at Range Rover, so have that there. MOT runs out in November, but of course I will put a new MOT on the car anyway, so it will come with a full year's MOT for whoever buys the vehicle. There are numerous things that have been done. I have a stack of receipts here that for bushes, discs, pads. I mean, the list is endless. I won't bore you with them, but they are all there for you to look at. We touched on in the last video about the glass, the new windscreen. I have the receipt from Auto Glass here in the book, and then we come to my obviously a service at Range Rover in Maidstone doesn't cost £2,553, but what I'd like to run through is what they actually did for that money. And if you take a little look at this thing, I mean, you've got the obvious things: pollen filter, air filter, fuel filter, oil filter, so on and so forth, all the usual stuff that you get. But there was things that they recommended needed doing, which I chose to have done. One of them was the washer bottle was leaking for your washer fluid. One of that was leaking, so I asked them. They was able to repair that. They was able to reseal the washer bottle, and it was tested all okay, so that is now fixed. They carried out a coolant change, surprisingly in excess of £300 for the coolant change. I mean, I don't know what they put in Range Rover cooling systems now, but you know, back in my day it was water and a bit of antifreeze if you were lucky. But anyway, it's been done because it was discoloured and old and needed changing. They replaced the front differential oil, which I told you about. They replaced the gearbox oil and oil filter and flushed all the system through and recalibrated the ECU. That was in excess of £800 all on its own, that job. They replaced the rear differential oil, so both diffs have been done. They reprogrammed the preheater fob, which is the fuel burning heater in the car. They had to reprogram it. It didn't work. I pushed the button, it didn't do anything when I'd done it. So they done that, tested it, all working okay. That was £91 just to have that done on its own. They replaced the transfer box oil, which again needed doing. They also carried out a wiring repair to the mass airflow sensor. They said that there was some damage to the wire in there. I told them to go ahead and do it. Obviously it would have just caused me aggro down the line, so they went ahead and done that, which on its own was over 160 quid just for that. So as you can see by that big massive service, there was a lot of other work carried out in that service, and along with the normal service as well. So that was that. Then we move on to I remember I touched on in the video about the oil crankshaft oil seal. The car was leaking oil on the drive. Had that done. £971.57 to get that done. But while they did that, they of course replaced the seal. Obviously, they replaced both V-belts down there. The tensioner as well was done, and also the water pump gasket, which is a really useful thing because they leak, and they was able to inspect the water pump firstly to make sure that was okay, and put a new gasket around there. So nobody should have to revisit the front of that engine for the foreseeable future, as I said in the video. So that was all done. Then we had the mapping done, which I spoke about again in the video. We had a custom remap designed specifically for the 2010 to 2012 Range Rover, and the EGR solution was added to that. It increased the horsepower from 313 horsepower up to 380 horsepower, and also took the torque from 700 newton meters of torque to 800 newton meters of torque. So it's very powerful, more than capable, but more importantly for me, it was the drivability of the car. It's lovely and smooth now. It doesn't hang in the gears when you go up a hill. It's just drivability wise, it's absolutely fantastic. So really good to have that done. £349 there on its own. The wheels were a little bit more expensive than I thought. When I first did the wheels, I thought it was about £1,000, but it's actually, by the time they were delivered, I bought 4 at first, and they came to £1,058 delivered for the first 4, and then of course I wanted a spare, so that was delivered. Also wanted to get the spare wheel for the car so that it matched all of the others, so I got another new wheel and new Pirelli Scorpion Verde tyre. That came in at £270. Have the receipt for that there. We have the Autobiography chrome strip on the front of the car. Looks much better than the plastic one the Vogue has. That cost me £70. Have the receipt for that there. We also then move on to Auto Dynamics, the company that fitted the alarm system for the car. Supply and install Pandora Elite version 2 Thatcham Category 1 insurance approved package to 2011 Range Rover, with a remote start add-on costing £300 on its own. On-site installation here at my home in Kent, that come to £1,863 on its own. We have the Bluetooth dongle thing that I mentioned is in the cubby box for the music system, so that you can play your iPhone or Android phone, whatever you've got, through the car's Harman Kardon stereo system. That was £94. And then there's this jack-in system. It's a hydraulic, an electric hydraulic jack that I bought for the car, all in its own carry case. It also comes with an impact wrench. I'm not sure if you can see that there. Can you see that there, Di? Can you pinpoint on that? Let's see if you can see the pictures there. You can see that there's the jack itself. It comes in a carry case. It's got a reflective triangle on, and also has the impact wrench there as well, which plugs into your cigarette lighter, and then you can, it will, I actually tested this with my neighbour, and it actually cracked the nuts off the car perfectly. It was amazing. So really pleased with that. It's never been used other than that test, but we did it. It worked perfectly, and that was £170. And that brings me to the end of that folder. That on its own, in this little part of this folder, was £8,329 that's been spent on this car. But shockingly, there is more to add to that. I subsequently got some other things that I didn't find receipts for, but there are other major jobs that I had done. One of them is the side steps, of course, on the vehicle. I managed to find a new set of side steps for £350 on eBay. They'd never been fitted to the vehicle, to the guy's car, so I managed to get them quite cheaply, no problem there. And I paid a forum member on one of the sites that I'm on to fit them for me. I give him £150. He didn't want anything, bless him. Alex, if you're listening, thanks for your help, Alex. He fitted them for me, and he was here all day and done a fantastic job, and that was those fitted. So £500 there. Mud flaps for the car from Range Rover, proper genuine Land Rover mud flaps, £140. Although I must emphasise the rear ones are not fitted to the vehicle. I do have them indoors in the back. The interior seats, of course, the Autobiography interior, £800 for that. I did get some money back for the old interior that was in here, but it was negligible. Keys, 2 new keys for the car. So 2 new key fobs, new batteries, and the blades are in the side where they should be. Both programmed to the car. They were £60. I managed to program them myself using a Gap High ID tool. the mats for the car from Land Rover Parts Direct, £125. £50 on some lighting, which is puddle lights basically, some LED puddle lights which are a bit brighter. When you unlock the car, the mirrors open up, there are lights underneath the mirrors, and it helps so you can see get in the car when it's dark. That little bunch comes to £1,675 for that. So when you add that to the 8329, it comes to over a whopping £10,000 spent on this car. I mean, what I have to ask you guys is, what would you spend on this car? What would be a fair asking price for this car? Please don't insult me with silly. I've seen so many people spout some silly figures about these cars. Remember, this is a 2011 Range Rover Vogue with lots of extras. It's done 121,000 miles. I've got full service history, recently serviced as well, as I've pointed out in the video, and everything else that's been done on this car. It already had a residual value. I see one of these cars, a 2010 one, the other day, went for, I think it was 11 grand on eBay, just for auction. So, you know, without any history or anything with it. So, I mean, you have to ask yourself, you know, would you pay 13, 14 grand for one of these? Or would you be willing to pay a little bit more and get one that you know had 10,000 quid spent on it? So, I don't know, that's the big question. I know that these things have got a ceiling. I just want to know what that ceiling is. I want to know what people would pay. If they were in the market for one of these vehicles, I'd like to know what they would offer, what they think would be a fair price for this car. Please leave your any comments in the comments box, guys. I'd like to hear comments on this. I have a few interested people in the car anyway, but in all fairness, I'm not out to rob anyone. I'd like to know what a fair price is to ask for the car, and not, of course, not lose too much money in the process. So anyway, thanks for your help. I'll see you again soon.